Good morning, everybody. My name is Karen Kong, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Ottawa, and I am welcoming you to my This or That Thursday. I'm having trouble with my words. I don't know what it is about saying independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I don't know. Keep seeming to flub it. Anyways, good morning. I am live here this morning, and I'm going to make this beautiful card with you. I hope you're excited because I was really pleased with how it turned out. The other card was a fun fold that I learned from two different sources. One was a teammate of mine who did it many different ways in one way, and then I found it online under a different demonstrator, and she did the same type of pop-up card but in a slightly different way. So I combined both ways to come up with my own pop-up card. So I'll show it to you. Here we go. Here's the pop-up. This is for my grade 12 graduate for this year. So I figured a pile of books was appropriate. So anyways, I wasn't sure. I feel like I'm missing something. Maybe something like, oh, there's more to come. I don't know. Maybe that would be too depressing. Anyways, that was my other card. I'll give you a better look when I have it facing my desktop, the camera facing my desktop. But that is the other card that I was working on. It took me 2 tries to get it. It was because I was modifying the originals. I needed to make adjustments to the measurements, and then I didn't do it quite right. Anyways, long story short, I failed the first time. I had to do it twice. So I could not bear to do it twice a third time today, and it would take far too long for me to do it again, I think, because there was coloring and there was masking and it was just a lot. So I am just not prepared to do it today live. If I get a lot of requests, maybe we'll do it another day. We'll see. Anyways, today we're just gonna do this card, and if you're watching live, I would love it if you say hi, join in, ask questions, comment. It's always more fun doing this with somebody than just talking to myself, because it's really awkward just talking to myself. So I hope you'll at least say hi. If not, then join me on the replay, and I love to see comments afterwards and see people inspired by what I've been doing. So let me get my computer up and running so that I can see your comments while I'm crafting. Just give me a second. Whoops. I jumped to the wrong page. Okay. So it's a gorgeous day in Ottawa. It's been really hot the last few days. It's like we went from like this weird, funny spring weather where, the temperature jumps from 5 degrees in the morning to 20 degrees in the afternoon. Now it's super hot. It seems like summer comes earlier every year. And the poor kids in school, they don't have air conditioning, so they're boiling hot. Okay, my computer is up and running. I'm gonna switch you over to the desktop, so close your eyes while I move my camera. All right. Just going to zoom in just a tiny bit. There we go. All right, so here's the grad card I was working on. It is a fun fold, and it pulls up like this. So I was debating putting something here because it's so white and it's so empty. I just feel like I could do something with that, but I haven't decided what yet. So this little guy's tassels in his face. I was thinking maybe I could secure it on one side of his mortar board, but I haven't done that yet. But anyways, that is the other card I made, and I'm really happy, pretty much really happy with how it turned out. I had to finish the inside, but this will be the graduation card for my son. Oh, sorry. I'm a little bit off the screen. Forgot. Okay, so let's put that aside. Now, if you remember, last week when I did the monochromatic Zinnia cards, I'll show you. Remember these? Okay, so when I cut out all the little petals for those flowers, I had all these die cuts left over, the negatives, and I was thinking I really could do something with that, right? So that's what I did this week, and I'm very happy with how it turned out. I was thinking originally it was just going to be the die cuts. I was going to leave it empty. I was going to put some kind of background behind the where the hole is for the flower, maybe a background or something. But then I thought I was just going to go ahead and put white in, and it wasn't going to be 3D, but it ended up being 3D because I thought the extra flower on top just looked fantastic. I think this card can't be mailed. I have to hand deliver this kind of card, otherwise my petals would be crushed. But can you see that they are lifted up off the page, right? It's a 3D kind of card. Let me just show you. I don't know if you can tell. So anyways, I really love how this turned out. It's really not too hard to make. So let's get started, because this will probably take me a little longer. I did pre-cut, so that's what I was doing when I started late, was that I pre-cut a bunch of these little pieces here, so we wouldn't have to spend so much time watching me do that. This is from the Zinnia. The flower petals the flower is from the Simply Zinnia die set, and I took the sentiment from a retired Inspired Thoughts stamp set. So let's get started. Oh, and if you notice in the background, I did emboss. It's the Basics 3D embossing folder, one of the ones in there. So let's put that aside, and let's cut our card base and all the pieces we need. So obviously I have my die cuts, negatives from the Zinnias already. Let me put this off to the side and we'll make some room. Okay, so I'm going to get an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. Okay, this is a square card. It's an unusual size. I know that Stampin' Up! Does not carry this envelope size, but I just happen to have square envelopes from when I used to make wedding invitations, and you can also make your own envelopes. There are many tools out there, I think, on the market where you can actually make your own custom envelopes, so that's another alternative. And I think it's pretty easy. You could probably Google on YouTube envelope making techniques even without a tool, so it is an option, but this is a special size. So it is 5 1/4 by 5 1/4. So if you're watching my card making video for the first time, I do always post the instructions, not the instructions, the measurements in the video description after I am done. So don't worry about writing everything down. I always put it in the video description. So I am going to slice this lengthwise 5 1/4 inches wide. And if you've never used Stampin' Up's trimmer, it is the best one, I think, because I can measure and cut all at the same time and score on the same tool. So I'm going to score it halfway at 5 1/4. Actually, no, you know what? I have to trim it down first. Since it's an 11-inch sheet of paper, I need to trim it down because I need it to be 10.5 inches so that it'll be square. Okay, so I'm going to extend the arm, and we will measure to 10.5 inches. And then now I can score it at 5 1/4. With the scoring blade. All right, so that is our card base. Let me just lock the arm in again. And I have a mat. Okay, so the mat is embossed. So this is 5 by 5. Let me just double check that. measure once or measure twice, cut once, right? Otherwise I've made the mistake before. Okay, 5 by 5. So I need another sheet of paper. And I'm gonna cut this one at 5 inches. And 5 inches to make it square. All right, so that's, I think that's all the cutting I need to do at this point. I'm gonna put away the trimmer. I'm just gonna take my bone folder. So if you ever notice when you cut, there's like a little lip that forms on the edge of the paper. I don't know if you can see, but it's like a little bit of raised edge. Hard to see. Excuse me. Okay, so when I have that little raised edge, I just take the edge of my bone folder and I just press it down. I think it gives it a more finished look. That's just personal preference. Okay, same with this. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and fold my card so it doesn't take up so much room on my desktop, seeing as I have limited space. And burnish the fold. All right, so what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to emboss this mat. You see the embossing? I'm going to have to do a little bit of, I don't know what the word is. Because the embossing folder is not square, it's not one of the big ones, you can see it doesn't all fit, right? So I'm going to have to do it twice. So what I did is I ran it through once like this, and I have the leftover edge, and then we'll run it through again, and I'll just do that one missing edge afterwards. So I'm just lining this up. And with this, because the crosshatch pattern is very random, I don't feel too bad about like trying to fussed about trying to line it up, because you can't even see where the seam is here because it's mostly hidden by the flowers, so it's okay. Let me bring over my cut and emboss machine. Okay, and I just need this bottom plate, and I need this top plate. So if you've never used the cut and emboss machine, the instructions are always on the bottom plate as to which plates you need for each type of die cutting or embossing that you're doing. All right, so let's run this through. Oh, why is it so hard today? I'm just double checking. Sometimes when it's really hard to run through, I always double check I haven't left like an extra plate in there by accident, because that would be bad. All right. So here's one side done. Okay, so you see there's a strip there that hasn't been done. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to flip it, not flip it. I am going to turn my embossing folder because I can't fit it through. Like if I want to emboss that one edge, it can't fit through this way. So I end up turning it this way, which is still okay. And I am just going to line it up so that the unembossed area is on the embossing folder. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to run it through like this. And there might be a seam, like I said, but it'll be mostly hidden by the flowers, so you won't really notice it. Okay, let's run this through. Hi, Sandra. Glad you made it back. Okay, just running this through now. All right, so I just did the other part. So now there is a bit of a seam. I tried to line it up as best as I could, but there's still a little gap here. I couldn't quite do it, but like I said, this is going to be hidden by the flowers. You're not going to notice it because if you look here, I don't think you can see where I put the seam. It's pretty much hidden. Okay. I think that's all I need to do for now with the embossing folder. Let me just get this out of the way. Okay, I'm just going to need a second to just blow my nose off screen. Just a second. Sorry, I need a moment. Nothing like reality crafting for you. That's reality. I have to blow my nose after I sneeze. Okay, so, all right, so where are we? We have the card base, we have the embossed piece here, which I'm going to put at the top. Because if I put it at the bottom, that seam is going to show along the bottom more visibly. So I'm going to put it along the top, and I think, yeah, that ginormous embossing folder is going to be very interesting to work with. I'm debating getting it. I haven't decided. There's just so many things that you want to buy and can't afford to have everything. How sad. Okay, so yeah, this is going to hide my seam, so I'm going to put it at the top, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to adhere that first, just so that I have all my pieces together and it just takes up less room on my desktop while I'm working. So, and I don't lose it, right? Okay, so I'm just going to use a bit of glue. And I like to stay just a little bit away from the edge so that it doesn't squish out. And it also gives me a little bit of play time with where I place it, because then I can move it slightly left or right or up or down, and the glue won't show through or show in places that the paper doesn't cover anymore, because it's all underneath. If you put the glue maybe a centimeter or half a centimeter away from the edge. I like to be quite sparing with the glue. I don't like to have too much glue behind there, because sometimes you can see where it wets the paper and it crinkles there. All right, so those are now taken care of. We can actually go ahead and lay out these negative die cuts now. And it's just personal preference where you put each piece, but I'm going to copy where I put my oh, Sandra's saying the swirly is the same, one of those large, extra large embossing folders too. Yes. Yeah, that would make, I think that's the one that would look good for water scenes too, right? Because it looks like a current. Is that the right one? Okay. So I like to lay this out ahead of time so I know how much room I'm working with, because sometimes I don't leave enough room maybe for the sentiment, or it's spaced too far apart. So I think that's good. It looks about the same. So I'm going to go ahead and glue those down too. So I'm just going to use glue and my trusty tweezers to help me pick everything up. So I'm going to do this on my silicone mat, so I make sure if I get any glue anywhere that it won't be on my table. Okay, so yeah, I thought that I was going to make like a flat design. I thought it was just going to be a clean, just the die cuts with the background. Yeah, I might still try that. Putting something behind the open flower holes. Okay, so I do put a little bit of glue here because I don't want them to lift the these middle pieces to lift up. Just tiny amounts. I am big on using little dots of glue. It gives me a little bit more control. Sometimes, I don't know, my hand goes crazy when I'm like spreading glue out like randomly, you know, like this. And then I end up with glue that goes right over the edge, or not where I intended it to go. When I use dots, it's more intentional and I don't end up with so many mistakes. Okay, so now I'm just going to use my tweezers. I think I need a little bit more glue over here. It looks a little bit, there we go. Okay, should be fine. You don't need tons of glue. Okay, so I'm just eyeballing whether or not this is straight as I lay it down. And the glue gives me a little bit of time, wiggle time to like adjust if I need to. Okay, so now that the first one is down, it's okay. I can use my first one as my guide. So I'll use that. Actually, I'm gonna do it this way. No, you know what? I'll leave it like that. Okay, so let's put some glue here. You know, you never used to be able to swim on Victoria Day weekend. It was always kind of dicey as to whether the weather would be warm enough. But lately, like the last couple years, it's been hot. Sandra, do you remember if you were swimming on Victoria Day last year? I just remember summer starting early last year too. I remember it was hot early, and then we had those forest fires and burning in Quebec, and we had smog. But usually I don't know, I would say that Victoria Day weekend for us in May is not usually the start of swim season, but this year it was. It was super hot Saturday and Monday. Hey Tara, thanks for joining in. Okay. You had a question, Tara, about, oh, using the die cuts on my pop-up. I'll have to show you if I have time, maybe at the end of the video. We'll see. I have a feeling this one's going to take me a little bit longer. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing for all four, and then those will be secured and they won't move. So Tara, are you still working on your garden? Is there more planting to do still? I have to say I'm not the planter in my family. I did not inherit green thumbs. My parents are both both gardeners. But I just don't love being out there gardening. I'd rather do the vacuuming. I do like having a nice looking garden, so Joey's in charge of that. He's not a huge gardener either, but he does do at least, you know, the maintenance and making sure at least it looks presentable. And we have a few flowers, so it's always we always have like a couple of the annuals and stuff. But we're all about low maintenance because I don't think he enjoys spending his weekend gardening either. So Sandra, you did open your pool early, a couple of years, I guess. But was it actually warm enough outside, like the air? I guess that once you get in the pool, it's okay. Even watering, Tara's saying it's low maintenance once you have everything planted. But even watering, like that takes time to go out there in the mornings and have to stand there watering. Unless, I guess, if you have like sprinklers, and I guess you can leave them watering while you go in for a bit and then have to move it around. But still, I sometimes forget. Watering is actually my job since Joey does the planting, but even then I forget sometimes because I'm busy doing everything else around the house, and it's like one more thing I have to remember. The plants that come on our lawn in our gardens have to be pretty hardy. Although I have to say the impatiens suffer sometimes because like they seem to, they don't really love hot, dry weather. So I really have to stay on top of watering them. Okay, we are nearly done with these. All right, so I evenly space these with a little bit of a gap. I think that looks good. All right, so the next part is putting on the flowers. So there's 2 layers of flowers here. Oh, Sandra's saying her daughter and her friends went in. Yeah, the kids seem to don't care. They don't seem to care about cold temperatures. I just cannot get in if it's like cool. Can't get past my waist. Okay, so the first layer underneath is just plain white. And then I blended Daffodil Delight on top of the second layer of flowers to give it some depth. So I pre-die cut my white flowers, so you wouldn't have to watch me die cut all these flowers because there was a lot of die cutting. And if I'd been smart, actually, I would have put adhesives on the back and made all of these stickers, and then I would have been able to just peel it off and stick it on. But you know what? It's not terrible because these are all going to be placed exactly in the in these holes. So I'm just going to go ahead and put glue right in here. And then we'll just pop the die cuts on top. I'm really liking this die from the Zinnia set. Like, it just seems, I've gotten so much use out of it, the flowers and now the negatives. I'm really happy with it. And there are other dies in the set from this Zinnia set, but I have not used them as much. Not yet. I did see a layout from somebody else. I think it was Michaela Titheridge, and she made a flower pot with these flowers, and it looked amazing. I'm not very good at 3D stuff usually. Well, or maybe I just haven't. I haven't spent as much time making it. I know that Tara, you've been making a lot of 3D stuff, which is amazing. And Sandra too. Everybody has their favorites, I guess. Yeah, I have like the same package of adhesive sheets that I got the very first time, and I still haven't used them up because I keep forgetting to use them. Oh, I see Tara is thinking of using this with the daisy punch, and that is a great idea. You could definitely do that. Oh, I need a bit more glue. Yeah, so I got like the whole set of monochromatic zinnia flowers that I did with the layout last week, and then I used the negative die cuts to make this one this week. I have gotten a lot of use out of this, and I'm really happy with how this one turned out. Oops. So I'm attending the Ottawa Demonstrators event this weekend. I still have a few things to do. It's an event that's only for demonstrators in the Ottawa area from Stampin' Up. It's free, and we're going to be doing some card swapping, shoebox swaps. Shoebox swaps are, I've never done them before, but I get the idea where you bring all the supplies for 4 cards, to make 4 cards, including the stamps and the ink and everything. You put it all the supplies into a shoebox, or a shoebox, and you exchange with other people and make cards. So I think I might use the monochromatic zinnias for this, because they already make 4 cards. Just preparing all the petals and everything and all the die cuts, it makes 4 cards. I think that'll be perfect. All right. I know, Sandra, you really should have gone to this. It really would have been fun. Now, I just realized I did something different this time. I just realized my flowers are going to be facing different ways, which is going to be interesting because, like, I had angled this one this way, this one's angled this way, this one's upside down, like from the other ones. Yeah, this will be interesting. It'll look different. I had not thought about that, but if you wanted to all have your flowers all facing the same way, then you have to pay attention when you're gluing down these bases, these negative die cuts, that they're actually facing the right way, because I should have flipped this one around. This one I'm not so sure. I think it's the way I cut it. Oh, maybe this is upside down too. Anyways, we'll see how this one turns out. I'm sure it'll be fine. Okay, so now I need to create the center. So I need 4 more of these zinnias. And what I'm going to do, let's move these out of the way. Oh, you see the books? These are what I used for masking for that pop-up slider. Okay, so let me show you what I did to get the yellow centers. I actually blended on my Daffodil Delight. Let me get my blending brush. So I used a small blending brush to apply just a little bit of yellow in the center of where I was going to die cut. Okay, so I put these down and I would kind of guesstimate where my center is going to be. I'm going to need some scrap. Okay, so I'm just going to ink it up, tap off the excess, and I know I need it to be a little bit of yellow right here. And I'm going to apply it very lightly because I want it to be mostly white, because I found that if I got too far out of the center, I had more of a yellow flower than a white, and I really just want the center to be yellow with a touch of yellow on the petals. So I think I'm going to leave it like that, and I'm just lightly adding a little bit more around the outside so it kind of blends out onto the petals. Okay, so that's one. I wonder if I can fit another one underneath. You know what? I'm going to put it next to this other flower. So I'm going to put it, my center is going to be there. So I'm going to blend right here. I'm going to do a few of them so that we can cut right away after in succession. Okay, so I'm just putting a little bit of yellow. And actually the middle part is going to be covered up by the die cut. Oh, okay, I'm just catching up with the comments here. Sandra says it doesn't matter where I put all these and it'll add character. I agree. I think it'll probably be good. Okay, so your next question is, would it make it any easier to blend after you die cut the flower? So I have done that on a previous card, and I find that if I blend afterwards, I end up with more defined edges. Okay, so what happens is the brush will catch the edge of the petal, and these will become more defined, like darker yellow along the edges, and I didn't want that look for this card. So it doesn't matter if you do it that way, it just gives it a different look. And the look I am aiming for is a very subtle yellow. So I'm going to blend beforehand before I die cut. But you could definitely do it after. It just gives you a different look, that's all. Okay, let's see. I don't know if without cutting, I'm not gonna be able to tell if I can fit those on there. Let's cut the first two and let's see how it goes from there. And then we'll do the other two afterwards. Okay, gotta make some room. Let's bring over my cut and emboss machine. I should use my mini, but I don't have the plates readily available. They're far farther away on the table, so I'll just use this one. Okay, and I need this. Alright, so let's die cut the first flower, and I'm going to center my middle over the yellow blending that I did. Okay, and run this through. Yeah, the mini would definitely work for this. It's just I didn't grab my plates and get them ready before I started my live, but yes, it would definitely have worked for this. Alright, so let's poke this out. Where's my... Take your pick tool, and I just need to poke it out, and we'll see how it turned out. So instead of poking really hard here, I found that if I poke too hard, you end up with like a dent in the middle of your flower, and I don't want that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just stick it down the middle of the leaf, sorry, the petal here. And once you get to the middle, it's easy to just push it out, and then you don't end up with that dent. So I think that turned out well. I don't have too much yellow on the sides, so it just settle. I might add a little bit more afterwards, but let's see how this next one turns out. Okay, so there's the center of that one. I might go a little bit wider on my yellow to give it a little bit more yellow on the petals, but let's see how it goes. So I poke out from the release holes on the edges, and it's not enough to release the whole flower. I don't want to press too hard, so I'm going to go down the petal and just go straight to the center, and it comes off much easier. There we go. That's good too. All right, so let's blend a little bit more, finish off the last two. I might go out a little farther just to give it a little bit more yellow on the petals. Okay, let's see if I can fit this in. I always like to, nope, that's not going to fit there, but it will fit here. So I'm just going to blend right here. So I'm going to get a little bit bigger this time to get a little bit more yellow on the petals. I think that's probably good. All right, see you later, Tara. Thanks for joining for even just a short time. Okay, so I'm gonna put this, let's just see that I don't, yeah, I think it'll be fine right here. So let's put a little yellow here. So I'm starting from the middle and blending out. I think that's probably enough. Okay, let's die cut. Oops, that's not what I want to die cut. Okay. So I'm centering my flower over the blending, the blended area, and I'm looking for my plate. Nope, my plate is right underneath. I didn't take out the top plate. I think the alignment is still fine. Let's die cut that. Okay, I'm just backing it out because I don't have enough room on the other side to push it all the way through. That's why I'm not doing it because I need to back it out, but to cut it twice, but simply because I don't have enough room. That looks really good. I like that one. And let's put this here. think that's all the die cutting we need to do. So let's move this off and make some room. All right. Okay, I'm just going to release this die cut from the flower. There we go. Okay, so now that we have all those done, what I'm going to do next is glue just the center, okay? Because I want to have the petals free to lift up. So what I did first is I'm just going to take the side of my thumb, and you can use a bone folder or just the side of your thumb, and just press and rub the petals upward so that you get a 3D effect to your flower. Okay, not a lot. Doesn't need to be a lot. Okay, so now how you can see how that's like lifted, right? Okay, so now that I've got that, I'm just going to line it up here, and I'm going to offset it. Actually, I'm going to turn it just a little bit, one turn, so that my petals cover more of the paper instead of just lining it up straight, because then it's a different look, right? Let me just get some glue, and I'm just going to place a few dots of glue in the center. Don't need a lot. I'm using my tweezers so that I can line this up before I actually stick it down, but the glue will give me time to maneuver it after I put it on. That looks good. All right, so I'm going to do the same for all 4 of these. So it's not a hard card. It's not hard at all. And I'm really pleased with how fancy it looks, you know? I was thinking of using the Zinnia's folder for that, but I think it would be too much flowers. It would take too much away from the center, so I opted for a more generic pattern for the embossing. Okay. So again, just a few dots of glue in the center. Not too much because you don't want it to squish out. And I am kind of lining up where the petals are originally, because on this Zinnia, the center is not circular, right? So if I put it too far off, I feel like it won't look right. So I'm just making one turn off of the original placement so that it looks nice. There we go. Now, if you look at the final one, I didn't put any bling on it. There's no ribbon, there's no pearls, and I'm debating whether or not it needs it. What do you guys think? I'm not sure if I need it or not. I like it. It looks really clean this way, right? Should I turn it this way? Yeah, maybe this way. Yeah, so I don't even know where I would put a pearl or something if I wanted to add that, but I think I'm going to just keep it clean. And curling the leaves is such a small detail, but I think it makes it look so good. By the sentiment? You mean like right here maybe? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. I might have to trim this a little bit, but in any case. And then what color, right? Would it be white, or should I use one of the colors from the flowers, or the negative die cuts? Not sure. I don't even know if I have any in that color. I would have to check. All right. So there's the assembled flowers, and then I did go ahead and put these in because I thought that they added oomph to the flowers. So let's just put those on. Yeah, white to be subtle. If I was going to use anything, it would be white, right? I'm going to go ahead and add glue to all of these because it shouldn't take too long to just plop down the yellow centers. Okay. And you don't want too much because what happens is the glue will squish out of those lines and you don't want that too much popping out. Okay. Is this right? This is the right way up. Yep. There. Easy peasy. And then these ones are a little bit finicky because what I did is it only, if you notice, just the edges of the insides of these little die cuts actually touch the yellow center. So I only put little dots of glue on the inside edges because the outside ones are not going to touch anything and they won't adhere to anything. Oh, that, yes, absolutely. If you have blends, then you can make the pearls any color you want. I don't know if I have blends for all of these colors. I actually realized I did not have Night of Navy. Like when I was making my pop-up card, I wanted Night of Navy and Crushed Curry, and turns out I don't have either of those blends, so I had to switch to, I used Misty Moonlight and, no, Mango Melody. Those are the two I ended up using. Again, this is just little dots of glue because it's not going to take much to make these hold on. Okay, so just along the inside circle of these. There we go. And I still need to do my sentiment after. So I finished last night late last night and did not have the energy to find the right sentiment to fit underneath here, and that's why I had to post this morning because that's when I finished. Okay. I do think I have Fresh Freesia though. Fresh Freesia blends, I'm pretty sure I have those. So I may have to try putting pearls or seeing if they look good with them after the show. Okay. Okay. And one last one. There we go. All right, that's pretty much it. Now we are just down to doing the sentiment. So I just need a bit of black cardstock, and I know I had some here. Okay, and I'm going to remember to use my embossing buddy so that I don't get powder stuck everywhere. Although this one has put, so I find with the embossing powder buddy that it does leave white marks, but I saw a trick I posted somewhere else by another demonstrator that you can use a Swiffer, what do you call those, the Swiffer cloths to get all that off afterwards. So I haven't tried it yet. I don't have any Swiffer cloths handy. I do have some old ones because I don't use Swiffer anymore, but to take that off, but we'll do that later. We'll give it a try. So I'm going to use the same sentiment, thanks so much. And I'm using Versamark to stamp it, and then we will get some white embossing powder out. So let's do this here. I think that looks good. I'm just tapping off any excess. Okay, and let's dump this back into the container before I accidentally blow it somewhere else or get it all over my arm. All right, I'm going to turn on my heat gun, which is from my stash. It's something I've had for years and years. It's always like magic when that embossing powder just melts. It looks so good. All right, let me bring back my paper trimmer to slice that off and trim it down. Okay, so this is one of the things I love about the Stampin' Up! Trimmer is that I can cut really thin slices of paper off, and it has guides up at the top to help me hold my paper in place, even if it's a really small piece. And there we go. Now I think I may actually trim this down a little bit more this time. So that I don't have so much excess. There we go. And where is my bone folder? Yeah, so there's a little bit of a lip on that from trimming, so I'm just going to run it so that it's flat. Okay. Bring back our card and let's see how that fits. Yeah, I think that looks good. All right, so I just use a strip of tear and tape because it's about the right width, and we'll fit the entire back and it's not going to move. Oh, I'm just a tiny bit short, but I'm not going to worry about it. Okay, let's put this down, and I'm going to space it just the same as I did with the flower negative die cuts. And that is the card. Look at that. It wasn't that hard. It was not that hard of a card to make. It just took a little bit of time. And I do love how it turns out. So I hope that you'll give it a try with whatever flower die cuts, dies that you have, or the daisy punch even might work well. But have fun with it. Thanks, Sandra. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you all next week. Have a great week, everybody.